And I would just like to do a roll call, or Lou, you do a roll call so we can get started.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Hess.
Here.
Duffy. Here. Ford. Here. Deputy Director James. Here. Director Lazara.
Here. Administrative report.
Director, I'll just turn the program right over to Freeholder Best, who is willing to be our master of ceremonies for this evening. Freeholder.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome you out to our annual celebration for Black History. As you know, each and every year, the Board of Chosen Freeholders during the month of February honors the contributions of African Americans and Black people throughout the entire diaspora. But here in Passaic County, it also gives us a chance to highlight individuals, organizations from throughout the county of Passaic who have contributed greatly to our community. This year, we have a special focus on education, and we're delighted to honor 5 individuals from our community who are doing some great things in the field of education, and you'll be hearing from them shortly. But as in our tradition, we would like to start off with an invocation, and I'm going to ask Ms. Evelyn Robinson to please lead us in our prayer.
Please rise. Good evening, everyone. Let us lift ourselves to the Lord. Heavenly Father, first we'd like to thank you for this day. We thank you for all who are in attendance, bless their families, and especially for the honorees. Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless and we thank the freeholders who fought in our robbery to honor the people who have made contributions and have achieved in various forms in our country and particularly in the county of Passaic. We Heavenly Father, to bless these young people as they lift their voices with the talent that you have blessed them with. Bless those who are guiding them and are teaching them so as they go onward. Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless this event. We ask you to bless their households, and that when we return home, when this is all finished, that they will be greeted by hugs and smiles. All this we ask in the name of your Son. Amen.
Amen. I'm going to ask that everybody please remain standing as we have the students from the Rosa L. Park School of Fine and Performing Arts from the great city of Patterson lead us in the singing of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. You're welcome to join along. It is located on the left-hand side of your program.
Oh
remain standing as we have the salute to our great flag by none other than our sheriff for the county of Passaic, Sheriff Richard Burtnick, who afterwards will share some words.
Thank you, Freeholder. Please join me in placing your right hand over your heart and saluting the greatest country in the world. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, Freeholder Best, and I'd also like to thank all the freeholders and the administrator for hosting Black History Month. And just in advance, to all the recipients, congratulations. I couldn't be more proud. And the men and women of the Passaic County Sheriff's Department salute you. We have Under Sheriff Joe Dennis in the back, Detective Mack in the back, and Deputy Warden Dixon, I don't know if he left, was here. He's back there. All right, now, and Under Sheriff Lenny Lovely in the back there as well. So joining us all here again to salute you and wish you the best. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the great job that the choir has done in singing and we'll see another presentation as well, and of course the director, thank you for an outstanding job. Thank you all. God bless America.
So our first honoree this evening will be done by our freeholder director, Sandy Lazar. I'm going to ask that she please come forward. And she will be honoring a local councilman that we have here in the county of Passaic, a councilman from the city of Patterson, but more importantly, a principal, a doctor of education in the city of Passaic as well. So we're going to have her make that first presentation to none other than Councilman Dr. Terrence Love. I'm going to ask that.
We just saw each other Saturday night at the Passaic African American. It was to raise money for the parade.
Yes, celebration.
Celebration, but they're doing a great job. They're raising money. There's going to be a fabulous parade. It's in July 16th? June 16th. And he's also a principal in Passaic. So it's, you know what, he's really, truly a community member working with the youth and the rest of the people in the community to make it even better than it is now. It's a great community, but you work tirelessly, I know that. So I have the honor of presenting this proclamation to Dr. Love, and I will read it, and you'll know a lot more about it. Whereas the month of February has been designated as Black History Month, and in recognition of the outstanding achievements and contributions made by many exceptional African Americans over the years, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic deems it fitting and appropriate at this time to honor and recognize Dr. Terrence L. Love. Whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love was born in Patterson and moved to the city of Passaic, where he has resided for over 40 years. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love graduated from Passaic High School, where he was a standout student athlete in basketball, football, and track, he earned his bachelor's degree at William Patterson University and completed his teacher's certification and master's degree at St. Peter's College, and earned his doctorate degree in urban education. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love worked as a supervisor for the Division of Youth and Family Services and has been employed by the Passaic Public School System for the past 17 years, where he served as a second grade teacher for 8 years. And that's a lot of words. And a program director of the Quality of Life program funded by the 21st Century Community Learning Centers for 5 years. He currently serves as a principal with the Passaic Public Schools. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love has coached many levels of sports, including varsity football, before realizing that coaching flag football was his passion. And he continues to coach flag football despite his extremely hectic schedule. So flag football is second grade, isn't it?
No, actually, kindergarten.
Wow, you really like it. Yeah. Whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love is active in many civic organizations, including the Passaic Optimist, the Black Forum of Passaic, and the NAACP, International Free and Accepted Modern Masons, and the Order of Eastern Star, Inc. Also, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Lambda Upsilon Chapter, and and he served as a, I gotta stop laughing, I can't see. If I laugh, I don't see. State Ambassador for the New Jersey School Age Coalition, and he's also founder of the Passaic African American Celebration Committee and loves youth services. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love was elected to the Passaic City Council in 2009, where he received the highest number of votes and continues to serve as a councilman. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love has given unselfishly of his time and energy to the community, which has earned him the respect of one and all who have come into contact with him. And whereas Dr. Terrence L. Love has been involved in many causes throughout the county of Passaic, and he has brought honor and prestige, not only to himself, but to Passaic County as well. And the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic would like to express its gratitude and appreciation to him for his distinguished service to the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes and applauds Dr. Terrence L. Love for the significant contributions he has made and the exemplary service he has unselfishly devoted to the community. And be it further proclaimed that this board extends its sincere best wishes to Dr. Terrence L. Love for continued success in all his future endeavors. And just allow me to mention that the New Jersey Legislature, and it's signed by Senator Nellie Poe, Assemblywoman Sumter, and Assemblyman Wimberly. He has a citation from them, and another citation. Our Congressman Bill Pascrell has also presented him with a citation, which I won't read because
Thank you. First and foremost, I just want to thank God for allowing me to do some of the things that's in our next, I want to thank Madam Director, and the Freeholder Board for acknowledging, some of the work that I have done over the years. Next, so that I can make sure that I go home safely. I want to acknowledge my wife, Nadine Love, Mrs. Love. I want to acknowledge that it's special that she's here because her mother has not been doing well, and she's been going to the hospital every single day right after work, but she did take time to come out. So I want to say thank you. And I can't get in trouble with my seniors that stay and all those things in the proclamation, they really should take credit for because they do not let me breathe. And that's Ms. Mamie and Ms. Hunter, who are not afraid to tell me what's right and what's wrong. So I want to thank them. And my dear mentor, Evelyn T. Robinson, an educator extraordinary from the city of New Jersey. And then I want to thank, I do have a few folks from school that where I'm the principal at, so I want to thank them for coming out. First and foremost, I am humbled. I'm humbled, and I'm actually happy that I got an opportunity to go before some gifted people. Each one of them, Dr. Mills, I followed you quite closely, and I'm honored to be on this panel with you, as well as Dr. Irvin. Got my doctorate first, though. All right, who's my frat brother? It's my turn to talk, Doctor. Dr. Williams, who we actually watched grow up in the city of Passaic, and I'm just so proud of our Passaic system, watching you grow up and now being on a platform with you and getting honored. And also Ron Van Rensselaer, who will be here shortly, again, his extraordinary work. And just real fast, I'm gonna get right out of the way. This work, I'm very humbled, and as I said, and I usually don't even accept awards, but this one, TJ Best, when he called me, he didn't give me an opportunity to say no, first of all, and sometimes you do have to get your flowers while you're still alive, right? And you do have to accept some of these awards. The things that I do, are very easy. They're very easy. One, it was talked about that I stay close to the very, very young group. I'm a principal in my school. We have 560 children, and out of those, we have 375 pre-K students, 3 and 4 years old, and then the rest are kindergarten. And why it's important, and I don't want it any other way. It's easy for us to take the glory for students when they get to where they need to be, right? But they go through a lot of different hands, and a lot of people touch those kids all the way up there. And I just want to stay on the ground floor, and I want to stay where we're building kids, and we're building them so that when they get to a Dr. Mills or Dr. Irving, they're ready, and they're ready to go, okay, as well as Dr. Williams. So again, I will not, I can stay here all day, but I'm sure that my jacket will be pulled shortly. But once again, I want to thank the Freeholder Board, led by Madam Director, for this prestigious award. Have a great day.
And just for all of the honorees, we're going to ask that you hang back a little bit. We'll take pictures afterwards just to get the program moving. Also wanted to inform and let everybody know that afterwards as well are some more than light refreshments. It's actually traditional soul food that will be downstairs. Home cooked meal from my home church, Victory Temple. So I want to thank my pastor and my aunt, Della Capers, for hooking us up each and every year. While I asked Freeholder Bartlett to please join me at the podium to introduce our next honoree, I just want to say that this year it was Freeholder Bartlett's idea to have a focus on education. And I thought that it was important that we highlight young individuals in the educational field. And I'm so happy that we have students here from Rosa Parks High School who can actually see people who are similar in the same generation. These are millennials here. Who are attainable, people who are close enough in age where you can actually see that went on to higher education to receive their bachelor's degree and master's degree and ultimately their doctorate degree, which is no easy fate, which is no easy task. And I plan on doing mine as well. But I'm going to purchase it, hopefully, from the website somewhere. I'm open to speak at a college or university and get one for free. So just pointing that out there. If you ever want to have it there. However you can get it, man. However you can get it. But it really is no easy task. I just want to say a couple of the honorees tonight. I was there. They're my close friends. And I saw as they study by balancing professional careers, family lives, and going back to school to attain that ultimate degree. And it's no easy task, and I'm just in awe of their accomplishments. I'm so happy we're able to have them here, and especially our next honoree, who I'm going to allow Freeholder Bartlett to introduce.
Thank you, TJ. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's a privilege to be here. We all love that quote in the Bible that faith without works is dead. I would say the same thing about scholarship. The great work of the doctors in particular that we're introducing here tonight is certainly their attainment of that highest degree in their field, but also it's what they're doing with it. And that was absolutely what made me think of Professor Dr. Jason Williams as an honoree for this year, not from the city of Passaic, but more than that is an example of how scholarship can and should be informed by the life and experiences of the scholar, and how it also needs to ask, okay, so what are we going to do with this work, with this study? How does this apply to improve the lives of people like the scholar, people who the scholar may never encounter, but by the work that he does, particularly in on issues of racial justice and the justice system, can make a profound difference in an area that really is still very, very much needed in this country, even in the 21st century. So it's a privilege to be here with you, Dr. Williams. It's a privilege to read this proclamation into the record. I'll skip the whereas part about Black History Month because you all already heard that. But whereas Dr. Jason Williams was born in the city of Passaic, grew up in the Alfred Spear Village Housing Project, and was raised by his maternal grandmother. Oh, by the way, Grandma, do you want to come up? Can you say something? And whereas, at an early age, Dr. Williams was introduced to the importance of sustained activism by elders in the community on issues involving housing, food and education insecurities, and he developed an affinity for philosophy and a strong propensity for question. This is definitely scholarly work. There's a lot of big words in here. A strong propensity for questioning inequality and the mechanisms that create and sustain social, economic, and racial disparities. And whereas after graduating from Passaic High School, he attended New Jersey City University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science and Masters of Science in Criminal Justice. He credits New Jersey City University with preparing him for a lifelong commitment to both social and academic activism. And whereas Dr. Jason Williams earned his doctorate in Administration of Justice from Texas Southern University, and thereafter was employed by Fairleigh Dickinson University, where he worked for 3 years and is currently employed by Montclair State University since 2006. And I'm going to go off on another tangent here and welcome Siobhan Gaines, who's here with colleagues from Montclair State on behalf of President Susan Cole. All of us in Passaic County recognize that although the front gate is in Montclair, the rest of it is in Clifton and Little Falls, and we're very proud to call Montclair State one of our universities. And whereas Dr. Jason Williams has published works on race, justice, social control, and social justice, and he's in the process of finishing book projects and journal articles. And whereas Dr. Jason Williams has given unselfishly of his time and energy to the community, which has earned them the respect of one and all who come into contact with him. And whereas Dr. Jason Williams has been involved in many causes throughout the county of Passaic, and he has brought honor and prestige not only to himself, but to Passaic County as well. And the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic would like to express its gratitude and appreciation to him for his distinguished service to the community. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes and applauds Dr. Jason Williams for the significant contributions he has made and the exemplary service he has unselfishly devoted to the community, and be it further proclaimed that this board extends its sincere best wishes to Dr. Jason Williams for continued success in all his future endeavors.
Thank you so much, the Freeholder Department, and to the rest of the board for this great honor. I really, really do appreciate it. Of all the awards that I have gotten throughout my professional career, this one ranks the highest. Because, but there is nothing higher than being recognized by your own community, right? By the own community. By the community that has given you nourishment. And I'm looking throughout the audience, I see Ms. Robinson sitting here. She was one of my mentors too, growing up. You know, but by the community that has given me nourishment over the years, that has led me to where I am now. You know, so without this community, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I'm a professor at the great Montclair State University, where we have magazines over there. First, I must, of course, give thanks to my grandmother, who's here with me, Anna Williams. She raised me to see and know that I can have more and be more than my meager surroundings growing up in a housing project. And this is a lesson that stuck with me and drove me through my academic accomplishments. I also have to give thanks to my older brothers, my sister-in-law and my nieces who are here today over here to the side, for their unyielding support and encouragement throughout the years. And to my friends who are here as well, Sean is sitting in the audience, and who have also supported me from day one. And again, to the community, because again, without my community, I wouldn't be here today. My activism and my research, and also in my teaching, was influenced by some of the earlier forms of activism that I saw growing up. You know, following Miss Evelyn Robinson to some of the tenant council meetings, not really knowing much of what was going on, right? But following her nonetheless with the flyers, setting up the refreshments, working in the office and so forth. But eventually learning a little bit more about what that process was and how important those issues were, right? Such as housing insecurity, food insecurity, and so forth. And so those things, they stuck with me, you know, and I had later on went into to college, and I grew this affinity towards law and criminal justice. And so I just simply took those same ideals with me into law and criminal justice. And now while I'm at MSU, Montclair State University, I'm now able to transmit some of those same ideals to my students, right? Some of the same nourishment that I've received from the community to my students. So thank you so very much for this award. It is quite an honor, and I will continue to do what it is that I do. Transmit the same nourishment that you've given to me to my students. Thank you.
Our next honoree is unable to be with us this evening, but we're still going to read the proclamation because it's important that we acknowledge his accomplishments. I'm going to ask Freeholder Pat Laporte to join us here, and since he is also from the great city of Passaic, we have here the mayor of the city of Passaic. I want to ask that he join us at the podium as well, Mayor Hector Laura, to receive the honor for Mr. Ron Van Rensselaer.
Thank you, Freeholder. Mayor, welcome. Good to see you. I have the distinct honor of reading the accomplishments of Mr. Ron Van Rensselaer. Whereas the month of February has been designated as Black History Month, and in recognition of the outstanding achievements and contributions made by many exceptional African Americans over the years, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic deems it fitting and appropriate at this time to honor and recognize Ronald Van Rensselaer. And whereas Ronald was elected to the Passaic School Board in 2006, he serves on the District Operations Committee. He is also a delegate for the NJSBA Delegate Assembly. And Ronald Van Rensselaer serves as Director of the Passaic Community Development Department, where he brings a strong understanding of the community's needs to the Board of Education. Ronald is involved in the areas of housing, zoning, planning, construction, and community affairs. Ronald has dedicated his time to many civic organizations in the city of Passaic, including the Passaic Police Athletic League, the Passaic Boys and Girls Club, and the Urban Enterprise Zone. He is the former president of Passaic for Kids, Incorporated. He has also served as the commissioner of the Board of Adjustment, and he is also the co-founder of the Houghton Van Rensselaer Underground Railroad Foundation, an organization dedicated to recognizing racial cooperation and civic accomplishment. Whereas Ronald is an urban studies graduate from Rutgers University, and he has a special interest in the impact of schools in the neighborhoods, he brings a steadfast belief that the schools are the cornerstones of the community, both socially and economically. And as a board member, he advocates for student safety and operational excellence. And whereas Ronald Van Rensselaer's motto is 100% for the kids, he goes further to say we need to continue to focus our attention on our students and build a school system based around their needs. Ronald has given unselfishly of his time and energy to the community, which has earned him the respect of one and all who have come into contact with him. Ronald has also been involved in many causes throughout the county of Passaic and has brought honor and prestige not only to himself, but to Passaic County as well. And the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic would like to express its gratitude and appreciation for his distinguished service to the community. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes and applauds Ronald Van Rensselaer of the significant contributions he has made and the exemplary service that he has unselfishly devoted to the community. And may it further proclaim that this board extends its best sincere wishes to Ronald Van Rensselaer for continued success in all of his future endeavors. Mayor, on behalf of the board, would you please accept this and give me
On behalf of Ron Van Rensselaer, I know that he would be overwhelmingly honored and humbled to receive this award. I know he would want to extend his gratitude and appreciation to freeholder TJ Best, to the director, to all of the freeholders here in the county, as well as a congratulations to all of the fellow honorees. I know Ron has put in so many years of service, and I did speak to him. Unfortunately, he was held back, but he told me he was going to drive down, so hopefully he'll make it before the end of the program. On a personal note, I'm so honored to see individuals from Passaic, Dr. Moon, Dr. Love, for receiving this award. I would add, though, that I believe the proclamations were amazing. Dr. Love, I'm going to have to research the standout student athlete in track, basketball, and football. I'm researching it, but no, thank you so much for all your contributions and everything.
So I want to thank Mayor Laura for closing our Passaic portion of the night. Now we're going to move into the Patterson portion. It's all Passaic County. It's all Passaic County. It's all Passaic County. But I'm extremely proud of the next two individuals who are going to be honored this evening. These are two of my colleagues, people that I went to school with, people that I grew up with, people that I came up with, and to see them achieve what they've been able to do at a relatively young age just impresses me and they inspire me as well. So it's not often that you get to say that one of your friends inspires you, and I could definitely say this about these next two individuals. The first one, we're going to have freeholder Assad Akhtar come to present the proclamation for Dr. Jamar Mills.
It is a great honor to recognize all these individuals, and I think as a freeholder board, I know it makes me proud that our freeholder director is an educator, and had a great career. And there are a number of freeholders here who are more senior than I, who consider themselves educators, but that's another question. It's another issue. We'll leave that to where it be. But we have a lot of great honorees here. There's so many more, and our teachers, whether it be our public schools or otherwise, our elementary schools or our higher education. They're asked to do so much. They're asked to do so much. We basically make it like you got to put a kid in a box, and if they don't turn out perfect, it's the teacher's fault. And we don't think about anything else. We don't think about anything else in society that happens. And I'm glad that we've taken this moment to really honor our educators, and we really should do so every day. Because if they weren't here, our country couldn't be nearly as great as it is. So let me recognize Dr. Jamar Mills. Whereas Dr. Jamar Mills was born and raised in the city of Patterson, he earned a bachelor's of science degree in math education from Montclair State University, a master's of educational leadership at the American Intercontinental University, and continued his education in professional development by earning his education degree at Seton Hall University. Go Pirates. Right. Whereas Dr. Jamar Mills embarked on his first leadership role as a department chairperson of mathematics at Malcolm X Shabazz High School in Newark, where he began to fulfill his true passion, educating the youth, and after only 2 years in that position, Dr. Mills was promoted to vice principal, and only 1 year later, at the age of 28, Dr. Mills was promoted to principal of Malcolm X Shabazz High School, one of the most troubled schools in New York Public Schools District, with a history of low test scores and the possibility at that time of being closed. Whereas Dr. Jamar Mills took on the challenge and fully implemented his strategy of education reform by becoming an accessible and relatable leader for the school community, he accomplished the unthinkable by dramatically improving student test scores, creating a safe school atmosphere, and guiding the students to believe themselves, the school, and in education. And whereas under the leadership of Dr. Jamar Mills, school pride and sports culture was featured on Sports Illustrated's award-winning series Underdogs, and Star Ledger released a series of articles and documentary authenticating the school's turnaround. And whereas Dr. Jamar Mills has received accolades from the New York Public Schools District, and he was a recipient of the Passaic Young Professionals Award, the Service and Leadership to the Children of Patterson Award, Service and Leadership to the Children of Newark Award, 35th District Service and Leadership Award, and School of Education and Training at JFK Outstanding Service and Leadership in the Patterson Community Award. That's an alphabet soup right there. And whereas Dr. Jamar Mills has given unselfishly of his time and energy to the community, he has earned him the respect of one and all who come into contact with him. And whereas he has been involved in many causes throughout the county of Passaic, has brought honor, prestige, not only to himself, but to Passaic County as well. And the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic would like to express its gratitude and appreciation to him for his distinguished service to the community. Now therefore be proclaimed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic that it hereby publicly recognizes and applauds Dr. Jamar Mills for the significant contributions he has made and the exemplary service he has unselfishly devoted to the community, and he extends his best wishes to him for continued success in all future endeavors. Congratulations.
Nothing feels better than to be acknowledged at home. Sometimes you have to leave home to do some things to get acknowledged at home, but I appreciate the love and support that I continuously receive, not only from Patterson, but the entire county. And I do want to thank not just Freeholder Best, but the entire Freeholder Board for acknowledging the things that I've done, because this is what it's all about. These are the things that 20, 30, 40 years from now, when I'm in the dirt, that someone can actually look up and say, maybe 50, 60, 100, 200 years, that we can request this record and say that I was honored on today. And I appreciate that. I remember getting the call from a member of the Freeholder staff and saying, we would really like to honor you for the things that you had done. And my first question was, do I have to sell tickets? And everyone said, no. This is essentially to acknowledge you for the things that you have done. And I appreciate that. I truly do. And the work continues. I want to shout out Rosa Parks High School, because what's not mentioned in that proclamation is I did my student teaching at Rosa Parks High School, doing pre-calc and calculus. So I'm very familiar with the staff there and the students, and they set the tone for me to move on to my own classrooms and do good work. And also, even though I received the opportunity to be a principal at such a young age, it probably wasn't because I was just the greatest administrator that they had ever seen. It's because the school was in distress, and it was someone who needed to take on the role in order to see our future for what they are. And I was willing to do that. And I was willing to be relatable. And I was willing to listen. And I was excited to see a group of adults rally behind me to do this work. So though you don't see them here today, know that they were there every step of the way to get this work done and to make this happen, for me to even be in front of you to receive this award. And with that said, I thank you again for the honor, for the proclamation, and acknowledging the work that I've done thus far in my life, and I hope that I can continue to do more, because our future needs it. And so it's a blessing to see so many people in education get a doctorate degree, and this Black History Month has been extremely special, because time and time again, whether I was scrolling down my timeline on social media or going into someone's facility or establishment, it was just a ton of positive energy about what can be accomplished when we dedicate ourselves to the process. Thank you.
I want to say that we saved the best for last, but that would be me. I'm going to ask, if you knew the relationship, you would understand. I'm going to ask my surrogate father, Freeholder Bruce James, to please come forward to honor our next person. Dr. Irving, you just come up here. Dr. Christopher Irving, I just got to say this before Bruce gets here. Dr. Irving and I, this is probably my best friend. He's my best friend. We go back a very long way. And You always feel uncomfortable sometimes when you have to honor someone who is so close to you because you don't want to make it look like it's a favor. And after you hear Freeholder James read the accomplishments of Dr. Irving, you will understand that irregardless of our personal relationship, that he deserves this honor, he deserves all of the credit in the world. I'm so proud and happy for him, as well as all the other honorees. So I'm going to turn it over to Freeholder James.
I just want to read what Chris texted me before he got up here. Do not read that whole thing. That's Chris. I'm happy to be up there. Chris is an ex-employee of ours. I worked with him for a number of years. It doesn't say in here, and it should. He was our WIB director. Before that, he worked at the One Stop, where we said to him, we're going to put you at the One Stop, learn it. And he did very well and did exceptional work there. So he became the WIB director. And let me read some of this. All right, some of this. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Whereas Dr. Christopher C. Irving was born and raised in the city of Patterson and is a product of the Patterson public school system. Whereas Dr. Irving earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in political science at Ramapo College of New Jersey and his master's degree in public policy and international affairs from William Patterson University, best school that we have. Sorry, Montclair. And one of his proudest achievements was the completion of his doctoral research at Seton Hall University, whereas Dr. Irving started a consulting group called the Cislin Miller Institute for Leadership and Diversity in America, CMI, based in Bloomfield. And CMI has grown to become one of America's most innovative leadership and diversity training organizations in the field of education and is dedicated to the cause of social justice and leadership development. And its programs empower its participants to function more effectively as people and more effectively in communities. And whereas over the course of the last 10 years, CMI has worked with primary, secondary, and higher education institutions, as well as public and private community-based organizations. And whereas Dr. Irving was elected 3 times to the Patterson Board of Education beginning in 2010, where he served as president of the Board of Ed twice? 5 times? 5 times. Better than the guy in Washington, thank God. It should be 1 time, half a time. Whereas Dr. Irving has given unselfishly of his time and energy to the community, which has earned him the respect of one of all who come into contact with him. And whereas Dr. Irving has been involved in many causes throughout the county of Passaic and has brought honor and prestige not only to himself but to Passaic County as well, and the Board of Chosen Freeholders, we want to proclaim this one of your awards and one of your days. I have to say, Chris Irving is exactly what people expect out of education. He's done it on his own. When you work as hard as he has, he never forgot while he was working here, while he was going to school. Job came first. He did that education on his own time. And what he did for the people in the WIB and over at the One Stop, to create jobs, create opportunities, reach out to community groups, understand that faith and faith-based groups have a function in raising somebody up from poverty. When you understand, as Chris does, that education is the only ladder away from poverty, it's the only way out, and he's made decisions and made policy and procedure put in place to help kids as well as adults who have lost their jobs or need retraining or don't have the slightest education because they didn't get that opportunity as kids. So you've changed a lot of lives. You're now the state superintendent for the county of Passaic, and we're so proud of you for that because you're exactly where you need to be. You're an educator. You may not have ever been in a classroom, but you've been an educator in the community. You've been an educator as if you were in the classroom. I'm so proud of you. You're exactly the kind of young man that we need to hand the country over to, because the boomers have done what they've done with this country. And now it's time
Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you, TJ, for my Wakanda medal. I appreciate it. Wakanda medal.
What y'all know about that? First off, I want to thank Freeholder James and Freeholder Best and the entire Freeholder Board. This is it's clearly a special honor, but the truth of the matter is, I served and probably run, with many of you in different election cycles, and we are all, I would consider, friends, aside from elected officials and colleagues, and et cetera. This to me means a heck of a lot more. Not just being recognized by a bunch of elected officials, but by people I call my friends and colleagues, and folks who I've served alongside and worked with and disagreed upon and agreed upon, all different things when it comes to public policy. I would say this about education. I love the field that I'm in, and I believe, as Bruce indicated, if there is one way to change this country, if there's one way to change this county, if there's one way to change the city that I call home, Patterson, it is to educate babies. And it's to educate babies in a way that is education based on intention, education based on skill set, and most important, education based on love. One of the Dr. Mills and I were in the same doctorate program, and one of the first courses that we took, was organizational theory. There's a book that we got, Michael Fullen's Six Secrets to Change. And anybody that's ever been in a doctorate program knows Michael Fullen's six secrets of change. But the first thing he talks about as one of the secrets is love your employees. Love your employees. And I firmly believe no matter where I've been, no matter what office I've served in, no matter what capacity I've been an administrator, I always make it my point to make sure that my employees know that I have their interests at heart, that I have their development at heart, that I believe in what they're doing. The second thing he talks about is connecting peers to purpose. That if you tell and help people understand the work that they do and how it correlates to the outcome that they want, people will be more invested. And I believe that we need more people, more educators to connect that peer to purpose. And peer to purpose means for people in law enforcement, teaching our sheriff officers and the folks who work with us and serve in our community why it is so important to wear that badge with pride. Because there are other young men and young women who are to see them and want to be like them when they grow up. Connecting peers to purpose for people who are on the freeholder board, people like TJ, people like Bruce, and the other freeholders who have to be here. Because when these young people who are from my school, the school I graduated from, Roselle Park School of the Fine and Performing Arts, see individuals like yourselves, they get the opportunity to be inspired and to be somebody who they want to be. I am so excited and so honored to be here and to be a part of this experience, to be a part of this county. I am a tried and true Democrat to the core, and I appreciate the fact that we have democratically elected freeholders who recognize the importance of doing programs like this. Because here's the truth. I don't know, and it's not a knock on anyone's political affiliation, but I don't know if the role would reverse if there are other groups that would recognize, take time to recognize Latinos, women, African American individuals, other people that So honors like this are important, and I want to tell you all sincerely, thank you so much. Thank you not just for honoring me or even any of the folks here, but thank you for taking the time to do this. Because people in the community need to know that there are great champions and elected officials who serve, who recognize the value that we all have and the value that we bring to our community. I want to thank my extended family. I really didn't tell anybody I was doing this, so I always want to thank Yvette Rowland, who represents my dad, the assemblyman, but she's like mom part two. For me and probably TJ and Kiana and everybody else. But also, Crystal Wimberly, who's, Aunt Crystal, for me, in the Wimberly clan, who joined me as well. But this is who we are. We are a community, a village, a collective group of individuals who I believe can and must be able to make the changes we can. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge and thank the governor of our great state, Governor Phil Murphy, for appointing me as the first African American to ever serve as the Executive County Superintendent. I take this responsibility, with the utmost sincerity. I've spent the last 3 weeks while I've been in my office touring this county. I spent a whole morning Being in one school in Patterson, and then in Bloomingdale, and then Pompton Lakes, and then Passaic County Tech. I believe that if we are to be educators, we must be in the classroom every single day. And while my traditional path had not been the rank and file that established seasoned educators like Dr. Love and like Dr. Mills have been, one thing I've always done, and I believe thoroughly, is in a concept of leadership. I believe in leadership. And I believe the best leaders, the most effective leaders, are those who lead with intention, who lead with heart, and lead with love. And if I believe if you do that, all things will follow. Thank you all so much for recognizing.
And if you couldn't tell, he majored in theater while he was at Rosa Parks. He was a theater major. He minored in vocals, so he's going to join the Rosa L. Parks School of Fine and Performing Arts under the leadership of Mr. Chapman in the next election. It was indeed, again, my honor to be able to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of these 5 distinct individuals who shouldn't just be celebrated because it's Black History Month, but who should be celebrated at any given month and any given day based on their accomplishments. And the fact that they're still connected to our community, the fact that they're still serving today. You can find them in the classrooms, you can find them in offices, you can find them in school buildings working to help mold the next generation is a living history, is a living testament to a legacy of greatness that they follow in, and I'm so privileged to be able to share that with them today. I thank my colleagues for putting this on. I thank our back office staff, Lisa Hill, Marquisha Gunthree, Osheen Castillos, and of course, Lou Imhoff. We can clap for all of them, please. And our legal department for getting these proclamations in really fast. Thanks, Billy and everybody who helped pull that together. Again, we're going to hear a couple selections from Rosa L. Parks, and upon that, we'll be able to go downstairs and enjoy some really, really, really good fruit. I'm going to ask that the honorees hang back just a little bit so that we can get a nice group photo. So the next voice you will hear is from Mr. Chapman in the Rosa L. Parks School of Fine and Performing Arts. Mr. Chapman, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
introduce this next song. So, you've all heard of Duke Ellington, I hope. So this is a song, well, let me just take a step back here. The arranger of this song, Greg Jasparse, he wanted to emulate Duke Ellington's band arrangements chorally. So this arrangement is written in a style of Duke Ellington, and one of Ellington's favorite things was to go from a single melodic line and break it up into 4, 5, 6 parts, whatever he decided. Great arranger. The other cool thing about this song is the solo is a group solo, but it's an actual transcription of an Ella Fitzgerald scat solo that she performed with Duke Ellington, which I was so happy to come across this arrangement. When I tell you that we worked on this, and worked on it, and we're still working on it, I can't even begin to tell you how proud I am of these guys' work ethic, and I think they're starting to see the reward of hard work. All the doctors over there, hard work got them to where they are, you know. And I hope that I'm teaching these guys what hard work is and what achievement leads to. So I don't often say this, but I'm going to say it. I would put these guys up against any high school in New Jersey.
Came up, and even though we read his proclamation already, I do want to bestow upon him our official Black History Month medal and give him an opportunity just to address everyone. So please help me welcome Mr. Ron Van Rensselaer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be here tonight. Freeholder Director, Freeholder Board. I want to thank you for this opportunity tonight, and on behalf of my family and the 102 Van Rensselaer Underground Railroad, I want to thank you for all the years of support that you've bestowed upon us and myself as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
We're going to ask all of our honorees to please join us up front so we can take pictures, and encourage everyone to please go downstairs and enjoy our food. I think we prayed for the food, but we wanted, I think we prayed, we're good, right? Okay, we're good. So again, I wanted to acknowledge Miss Yvette Rowland from Assembly Wimberley's office, her chief of staff, for coming out. Thank you. As well as Director Lyons, who we have here as well. Thank you all. Enjoy the food. Honorees, please in the front.
Are you done? Administrator, with your report?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any late starters?
Yes, Director. Through you to the board, we have two amendatory resolutions for P16. There's just a typographical correction in the title. It's a pretty pro forma. And there's an amendment to P50. That's the resolution authorizing the purchase of various items by the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office, just some technical changes. And there's one late starter. This resolution came to us after the agenda closed. It's a resolution will be P52, will require 5 votes to add, and it's a resolution referring litigation entitled New Jersey State Policemen's Benevolent Association Local 265 et al. Versus County of Passaic et al. To the law firm of Genova Burns to provide outside legal services to Passaic County. What? What's that?
Madam Director, we also have 2 late starter communications, N2 and N3. The Borough of Ringwood is requesting permission to hang a banner over Skyline Drive in Ringwood, and the American Arab Civic Organization is requesting hang a banner over Crooks Avenue and Main Street during the month of April. Thank you. Actually, N2 and N3.
So
There is one late, there was one communication already and these two late starters would be in two.
Thank you. Do we have a need for executive session?
No. No, I'm usually full of conviction. It's kind of late, so we'll try
Do we have
to.
a motion to adjourn?
Second. And freeholders, Apter. Yes. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy. Yes. Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to the regular meeting. I think we have an announcement of the open public meeting law.
Ladies and gentlemen, the notice requirement of open public meetings law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location, including the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting, filed with the county clerk, posted in the administration building, and mailed to 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best. Duffy. Lepore. Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Here. And if we can stand for the invocation, I'd like to invite Mayor Laura up. Mayor, if you do the invocation for us, please.
We'll have an hour. Welcome home.
We bow our heads. Blessed are you, O Lord, King of the universe, creator of heaven and earth. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together here in the county building. We thank you for these freeholders that you have placed in their position that they may do the business of the good people of the county of Passaic. We ask, Lord, together before you that you would bless them with wisdom to make decisions that honor you and best serve all of the residents. That you fill them with compassion and love, and that you would always guide them in a way that will lead them to do what is right, that will do what will always lift up this county and be a great example to the next generation. We thank you for all this in your blessed name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have a moment of silence to remember all the men and women who have died while serving this country. And more specifically, I would like to have a moment of silence for all the souls who lost their lives a week and a half ago at the massacre in Parkland, Florida, and for their families, friends, and everyone whose lives are changed forever. Moment of silence. Thank you. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes for February 13th?
Move it. Second.
Best and Duffy.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore. Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Have a motion for the approval of proclamations 1 to 6.
Move it. Duffy. And seconded by Best.
And Duffy and Best.
Freeholders, Apter. Yes. Bartlett. Yes. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
Director Lazare.
Yes. A motion to suspend the regular order of business. James and Apter.
Freeholders, Apter. Yes. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on bond ordinance 2018 Motion to open the public hearing on bond ordinance 2018-01.
Move it. Second.
So that was Lepore and Apter.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. If anyone would like to have the desire to be heard on bond ordinance 2018-01, you can come up to the podium.
Seeing no one at the podium, I move to close.
Duffy, who's going to second?
Second.
Before.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four. Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
Yes. Can I have a motion to adopt bond ordinance 2018-01?
Move it.
Second.
Best. Before and best.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
Yes. Okay. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on bond ordinance 2018-02?
Second.
James and Alfred.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
Yes. Does anyone present desire to be heard on bond ordinance 2018-02? Please state your name and address if you have 3 minutes.
Ellen July, 547 Clifton Avenue, Clifton. Bond ordinance 2018-02. The bond ordinance provided for various capital improvements at the Passaic County Community College in and by the County of Passaic, New Jersey, appropriating $1,714,790. And also, it's $1,714,790. On February, there was a article in the paper about the county budget. It was in Saturday's paper, February the 22nd. And your surplus anticipated is $19 million. And it's $100 million in 217. So why can't you why do you have so much surplus? Could you use that to pay for this $1,714,790? And that's my question. Why do you have such a large surplus?
Seeing no one at this podium, move to close the public hearing.
Duffy, James.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
Yes. Can I have a motion to adopt bond ordinance 2018-02? Oh, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, do that first. Yeah, sure.
Mr. Delage, the $19 million you referred to in surplus is surplus being used in the budget to offset taxes. So it's not surplus to be used for. And so if we used $1 million of that, we really essentially would do the same thing, right? We'd have $1 million less in surplus, which means we just have to raise the taxes if we were paying for this. That makes sense to you? Yes? Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Mr.
Yes. Welcome back, Mr. Delage. It is
Nice to see you.
Okay, now can I have a motion to adopt bond
Move it.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four. Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
Yes. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on bond ordinance 2018-03?
Move it.
Before and
James. Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Four. Deputy Director James. Director Lazar.
yes. Does anyone present desire to be heard on bond ordinance 2018-03? Seeing no one at the podium, can I have a motion to? Oh,
Mr. Delage, you coming up?
No.
Seeing no one at the podium, we'll move to close the public portion.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Ford. Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Can I please have a motion to adopt final ordinance 2018-03?
Move it.
Before and after.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Ford. Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Can I have a motion to resume the regular order?
Make that motion. Second.
Duffy and Bartlett.
Freeholders, Actor. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. I guess I start with the freeholder report. I do have two things. First of all, on March 28th, which is a Wednesday at the Public Safety Academy, the Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders, in conjunction with Catholic Charities Diocese of Patterson, will be holding a symposium for Vets in Crisis, Passaic County Veterans Prevention Initiative. It's the first year we're doing this, and we feel very strongly that it's an initiative that we should take, and I invite you to come. Again, it's at Passaic County Community College. No, not Passaic County.
Community College Public Safety.
Oh, the safety, yeah, Public Safety Academy. Do we have any of these flyers in? If anybody wants a flyer, you can call Lou, and he'll make sure you get one. Okay? And it's a great initiative. It's something we really feel strongly about. The second thing is, there is a resolution. Do you know what this resolution is? Number one. Okay. We today are voting on a resolution, and it's an advocacy resolution, and it's supporting regulation of firearms in New Jersey and elsewhere. I don't have to tell you that what spurred this resolution is the mass shooting in Parkland, Florida. I feel very strongly, as a whole, that we need some type of regulations. And I would like to, please go with me for a minute, read this into the minutes of this meeting. Whereas, the February 14, 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida reminds us that the United States has yet to tackle the issue of gun violence. Rates of gun deaths in the United States are far greater than in much of the rest of the world. Data from the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, shows that on an average day, 96 Americans are killed with guns. Nearly 2/3, 62%, of firearm deaths in the United States are suicide, and 7 children and teenagers aged 19 and under are killed with guns in the United States on an average day. Every year, approximately 100,000 Americans are victims of gun violence. While mass shooting tragedies often receive significant media attention, gun deaths commonly occur in the United States quietly, every day. And whereas the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And whereas in the 2010 case, Crespo versus Crespo, NJ 2010, the Supreme Court of New Jersey held that the right to keep and bear arms is incorporated as against the states by the 14th Amendment, and that the right to possess firearms clearly may be subject to reasonable limitations. And whereas the Board of Chosen Freeholders of Passaic County believe applying limitations on the right to possess firearms is necessary to preserve democracy and protect the citizens of Passaic County and New Jersey. And whereas the data from multiple established sources stated above depict a violent and dangerous world for U.S. citizens due to gun violence. And whereas the Board of Chosen Freeholders of Passaic County also recognizes that it is within the power of elected officials to protect the people of the United States and New Jersey. And whereas state and federal lawmakers continue to avoid necessary measures that should be aimed at restricting the availability of firearms, most notably semi-automatic weapons of mass destruction, making it obligatory for private and public firearm dealers to expand background checks for all interested purchasers, regulate the manufacture of unsafe guns, and bar the acquisition of firearms from those suffering mental illness. And whereas this matter was presented to the freeholders on the Finance and Administration Committee, who are recommended its adoption by the full board. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Passaic as follows. Number 1, affirmation of our commitment to protect our residents from all kinds of violence that will put them in dangerous or even fatal situations. And in the General Assembly and New Jersey State Senate, said board calls upon our state representatives to advocate for legislation that A, restricts the availability of semi-automatic weapons of mass destruction, B, obliges gun dealers to perform and complete extensive background checks for all of our potential purchasers, mandates gun safety training, keeps guns out of the hands of those suffering with mental illness, and E, monitors the sale of firearms. Said board also calls upon federal members of the House of Representatives and U.S. Senate to support legislation that A, strengthens regulations on gun transfers, B, regulates the sale and possession of junk guns, C, encourages neighboring states to work collaboratively to promote gun violence prevention. Said board hereby strongly opposes any state or federal law that minimizes the restriction on the above legislative recommendations. The clerk of the County of Passaic is hereby authorized and directed to take the necessary action to distribute this resolution and share with the clerks to the boards of the 20 other counties, members of the New Jersey legislature representing the County of Passaic, members of the House of Representatives, and United States Senate from New Jersey. I'd like to thank Sikander Khan, who did a lot of research for this information. You know, we talked, and he also served overseas in Afghanistan. The AR-15s are semi-automatic weapons of destruction. They're meant to kill people. And when he told me that, I just looked at him and said, when did our babies, when did our kids become the enemy? We need to advocate for them, we need to take care of them, and we have to make sure that laws are passed to keep every citizen in the United States safe. So this is something that is very near and dear to all of us. Thank you. Okay. Next, Deputy Director, Bruce James.
Given time, I'm going to pass the
Okay. Freeholder Doctor?
Well, now Bruce has made it hard for me to say anything, but I do want to say, Freeholder Director, that you said it better than any of us could. Being a teacher yourself, I think you must have put yourself in the place of those teachers, and we didn't mention
harm in dangerous situations any longer. If you could see for yourself the road conditions that now exist on Colfax Road after a weather event, you would not want your own family members traveling this way. Please understand the seriousness of this situation and move to remove these strips as soon as possible. Alyssa Esser. Just one other thing to clarify something that one of the other ladies said. I had to go through the police cars and the cones to get to work on that day. And when we say the ice was in the rumble strips, no, the ice was not, it was just before the stop at that T intersection. And the ice on the rumble strips was not just on the rumble strips. The rumble strip itself is about this wide. They added painted lines to make the center bigger, hoping cars would not cross it, so it's maybe this wide. The strip, the sheet of solid ice that I saw extending down the road was at least this wide because it was running over the rumble strips, hitting the ripples, hitting the other ice, and spreading the water out over the road, which is why the dangerous condition existed into both lanes of the road because of the rumble strips. I do thank you for listening.
Seeing no one else at the podium, move to close the public portion.
Freeholders, Actor. Yes. Bartlett. Yes. Best. Yes. Duffy. Yes. Lepore. Yes. Deputy Director James. Yes. Director Lazare.
Yes.
Mrs. Delage, I wanted to answer your question about Allwood Road. I represent Passaic County on NJTPA, the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, which is where we got the federal funding for the Allwood Road traffic safety improvements that you described. What you described of taking a 4-lane road and making it into a 3-lane road with a dedicated center left turn lane is called a road diet. In Wayne, we've had experience with road diets on Ratzer Road, on the Valley Road Extension, and a couple of other places. And they consistently reduce serious accidents by between 40 and more than 60%. That's the data that we have in Wayne from road diets there. We certainly have not decided to do a road diet on Allwood Road. It's one of several options that we have that are so-called traffic calming options, whether it's restriping or relining a road, whether it's changing the configuration of the curbs and the lanes. That's all going to be part of a process that we're going to go through, including public conversations in Clifton that I'll make sure that you know about so that we can hear from residents. I understand that Allwood Road is very, very busily trafficked, and I understand the concerns people would have about going from 2 lanes in each direction to 1. We've actually found that it increases safety without increasing traffic backup, but we're certainly not going to do it without the input of people locally. And that's going to happen over the course of the next year, and the actual changes will be taking place in 2019 and beyond. Okay. I also wanted to thank my fellow Wayne residents, Ms. Lamanna, Ms. Markerson, and Ms. Barnwell, and also Ms. Esser for sending in a written statement. I've been listening to your concerns here and to the concerns that I've heard from others, particularly as someone who lives in Wayne. I'm very frustrated by the fact that we put rumble strips where we did. I'm looking into the question of whether and how we can fix that, but I want to let you know that your concerns are by no means falling on deaf ears, and particularly for me, being from Wayne, and that also being a federal grant that came through NJTPA. It's something I'm very personally concerned about. So thank you for consistently coming out, and especially thank you for the update on what the winter weather is to there.
Through the chair, since my name was mentioned, and I have spoken after a meeting with some of these residents, and I too am concerned about the rumble strips as well. I know Wayne lowered the speed limit there. Your voice has not gone unheard. I saw the picture. It's something that I think should be done. Hopefully it will be done. I too concur with my colleague that something needs to be done sooner than later. That being said, that's where I stand anyway. So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time. I understand it's a safety issue. It should be looked at immediately.
Madam Director, before, if you'll permit me, before we go into our resolutions, there's two comments or points. There's an additional late starter that just got lost in the sauce I want to introduce, but before I do that, I wanted to do this kind of between the conference and the meeting, and the person I wanted to introduce and acknowledge left the room because he's always trying to help out. I'm very sad to report to the board, many of you know, that a valued member of my staff for many, many years, it's good news for him, but it's bad news for me, our office, and the county, is going to be moving on to perhaps greener pastures closer to home. Mr. Joe Greer, who is just a tremendous asset to the county. I know he's here, but when I wanted to do this earlier, when the room was packed, he left the room. So that's what I was trying to impart to everyone. I feel bad because he deserves a much greater acknowledgement, but I know that the freeholders and the county administrator, the deputy administrator, many of the department heads have interacted on a regular basis with Joe. Joe is moving on to the Murphy administration, and although we're sad to see him go, we're happy for his new opportunity. He has been a valuable asset to this county, and he's made a haul because he originally started living in Mercer County, and so he's made that trek every day. He's worked with the Adjuster's Office, and he's done a myriad, hundreds of investigations for the county. And I just want you, Director, through you, to just see if we can perhaps acknowledge Joe's service and thank him and wish him all the best. Thank you, Joe. Madam Director, thank you for permitting me to do that. Additionally, I want to just report into the record for your consideration as you amend and add the late starters. This is a second late starter. It is P53, which is a resolution authorizing the award of a construction services contract through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey to Murray Paving and Concrete for improvements and renovations to the women's locker room at the Practice Valley Golf Course in the Township of Wayne, New Jersey. So with that, maybe you can entertain a motion to add the late starters and to amend those two other resolutions.
Sure. I have a motion to add the late starters, P52 and P53.
Move it.
Second.
Or, oh, I didn't know if we had to do something. Okay. And to amend resolutions P16 and P15.
Did we good?
Before
Second.
and best.
Freeholders, Apter.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James.
Yes.
And Director Lazare.
Yes. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda P1 through P53?
Move it.
Report and James.
Freeholders, Apter.
Yes.
Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business. Can I have a motion to approve bond, wait a minute, we have to read that.
If I could read it into
Go ahead, could I read?
the record. Ordinance 2018-04, an ordinance of the County of Passaic, New Jersey, approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease purchase agreement with the Passaic County Improvement Authority relating to the issuance of up to $17 million aggregate principal amount of the authority's county general obligation lease revenue bonds, DPW building project, and any notes issued in anticipation thereof by the Passaic County Improvement Authority.
Can I have a motion to approve bond ordinance 2018-04 on first reading?
I'll move it. Second.
James and Lepore. Roll call.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Lazare.
Yes. Can I have a motion to move personnel?
Personnel. Before we end this, we just voted on the resolutions, but, and I voted for all the resolutions, but I don't know, think of something else. I will abstain from R1 here.
E1.
Yes, the supporting regulation of firearms. I will abstain. My colleagues want to sit with me, you're more than welcome to have that dialogue.
So we've moved down to personnel, right?
Yeah.
And who moved it? Lepore and James.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. I have a motion.
Move the bills?
Lepore and James.
Freeholders, Apter. Bartlett. Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes.
Move the certification of payroll?
Lepore.
Freeholders, Apter.
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Duffy.
Yes.
Lepore.
Yes.
Deputy Director James. Director Lazare.
Yes. We received departmental records.
Received and filed.